Hey there, I'm Sarah Holbrook, the Executive Director of the Pinhead Institute here in Telluride, Colorado, and the lucky interviewer of our fabulous Mayor, Sean Murphy. How the hell are you?
I'm well. How are you, Sarah?
Can I say H-E-L-L on public access television?
I think nowadays people say far worse on TV.
Exactly. The 7 deadly words.
Including leaders. Yes.
So, yes, exactly. Ooh. So we have, speaking of leaders, we have a lot to catch up on. Tell us what's going on, Mayor. So there was a council meeting last month and we missed a little catch up, but you also missed that meeting. Why?
Because we had, this is
You had
a
to
July
recuse
11th
yourself?
meeting. Thank you for pointing that out. Yes, that was not widely reported.
Oh, really?
It was simply reported that I was absent, but
Okay.
the facts are
Yeah.
that was an appeal of a planning and zoning decision back in May, and so certain neighbors didn't like a proposed project that P&Z had approved, and so they appealed completely within their rights. But in my case, I've started as of June to work for the law firm of Tuller and Gibbs. And
Yes.
so Mr. Tuller represents National Catholic Reporter, the
I get
seller of those lots,
Right.
to the applicants who got the approval from P&Z.
Right, so you, as somebody with skin in the game, had to step away.
Correct.
Okay.
So I was tainted, so to speak, or not completely neutral because of my relationship working for a law firm that represented one of the
two
parties
sides
that
of the
had a
issue.
financial interest
Now,
in it.
can you report to us, because I don't know the answer to this question? How did the hearing go?
So, of course, I didn't participate, but I, by all accounts, the council sat and listened for about 3.5 hours to the appeal-specific information.
Oh, sorry.
Those things usually take a while.
Yeah.
And they decided unanimously, 6-0, to uphold the P&Z decision. So I think the takeaway there is this concerns a certain treatment area, the hillside transitional area of town, for which there is a master plan that was created in the 90s.
Right.
Okay, so many people have pointed out that there are certain deficiencies and vagaries or vague elements of that master plan.
Let's say vagaries. That sounds
I think that's
a little
word,
bit crazy.
right?
Yes,
You
definitely.
probably know.
Vagaries.
You're the pinhead queen, so
Yeah, exactly. Well,
that
vagary
includes language
actually would be,
sometimes.
yeah, exactly. English language science or something like that. But anyhow, let's call them vagaries. I
So-
thought one of the things was that it wasn't habitable or something like that. Or is that a different plot of land, or am I talking
think people, no, I think
incorrectly?
an argument certainly was made, to my knowledge, that there is a greater geohazard in that area, and so building houses there presents maybe more of a risk to life and safety.
Yeah.
And I think that master plan, when it was created in the 90s, was actually done so with the idea that you needed 4 separate lots for every single residence, so that you effectively decreased density and therefore decreased the risk of rock strikes.
So only one out of the
But
4 lots, 3 of them
it's
would
still
be uninhabited.
A
and
shower
one
of
would
boulders
be, yeah.
coming at you and it wipes out one house instead of 4. I don't know
Yeah,
if
still
that's
not
really
great.
a good thing either.
Yeah.
So, but I don't really know the details. Again, I'm really not allowed to, to be completely conversant. But my understanding is that in the 90s, this decision was made. There are a number of citizens who would like to
what
this
decision?
this master plan
Oh, okay,
for the
got it.
hillside
Okay.
transitional area, treatment area within our town.
Okay.
And of course, the maps showed streets there,
Oh, yeah.
and so there was some grand design by which there could have been and maybe will be ultimately some residential development up there.
Okay.
But I think people decided that the trade-off, at least 20 some odd years ago, was that we would restrict the density and create more open space in that particular area.
Got it.
Following on the heels of that is another application by Windhorse and a couple of other neighbors, and that's been in the news as well. That one is effectively the same, the same general land
a little
area,
east
a little
of,
further east
of
of
the
that.
National Catholic area.
Correct.
Yeah. But so
So-
wait, so P&Z's ruling, which has just been upheld in the July meeting,
Correct.
that you didn't have anything to do with,
Correct.
is that what? They can build on those lots.
Is that they can build on those
Okay.
lots and that they were allowed to receive the entitlement that P&Z granted. My understanding is they had combined 3 or 4 lots per residence.
Okay.
And so, and they were only, the National Catholic Reporter application only involved the construction of 2 homes.
2 homes, would that be 8 lots then?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
That's
and
my
that's
understanding.
been approved.
That's been approved.
Okay, got it.
So now
Okay,
it will
and-
have to go through HARC.
Right.
And we'll have a whole other level of scrutiny. And then the Windhorse application, separate and apart from that, I think that's got a 3-step process to go through with P&Z.
Okay.
There's basically a, sort of a conceptual approval, which I believe they've received. Then there will be a preliminary approval and a final approval. So probably for the next 3 to 4 months, that separate process will unfold, and then you may or may not see neighbors not being happy with that outcome potentially, and another appeal. So who knows? That's why I really can't talk about that one with any great specificity either.
Okay.
But suffice it to say that based on the existing body of rules, based on the existing master plan for that treatment area, that 6 out of 6 of the sitting town council members for the July 11th meeting
that you were not
upheld,
attending.
upheld the planning and zoning decision from May 18th.
Got it. And now
So-
it'll go to HERC. Okay.
Yes.
So what else happened in that meeting where you weren't?
Not much. There was a
okay,
budget.
it was specific
It was
to that
kept
pretty
very
much.
minimal because
Okay.
there was no idea. We had no, forecast of how long it would last.
Right.
That appeal went 3.5 hours. It could have gone
Okay.
6.5 hours.
Got it.
So there's really no way to plan. So we decided when setting the agenda that we would keep it very focused on the appeal.
Got
and
it.
we did do a mid-year budget adjustment resolution.
Was it exciting? Did something
No,
awesome happen?
It's more like, okay, remember several months ago, the town of Telluride agreed to donate $50,000 toward mental health services, for
Sure.
example. It's to put that into our budget so that we had mid-year funds that were unallocated. We had
okay.
previously had council direct staff to go ahead and fund that initiative.
Sure.
So this was formalizing things like that.
Got it. All right. Well,
It's-
that's pretty
it's-
exciting. I mean, it's nice to have a little extra money floating around that's going to be sent towards mental health. I think that's
Exactly. And,
probably something that the citizens of this valley would be happy to know about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
a good
good.
cause, and I
Yeah.
know that group continues. Paul Reich has been the leader of that movement, and they have the town of Mountain Village, and the county all agreed to put in a certain amount of money. And then my expectation is that we will see that group back next year asking for more.
What's the group?
It's actually just, I'm not sure what
It's
their
not
formal
Tri-County
name.
or something like that.
Well,
It's not within
Tri-County
the-
Health is sort
Yeah.
of the administrator of the services.
Oh, okay.
But the applicant and the chief spokespeople or the chief advocates were really a group of local citizens who
just said, "Let's get
had
better at this."
interest for whatever reason in trying to increase that sort of service within the community.
yeah.
So
Sounds like a good idea.
altruistic things, yeah,
Yeah.
good things.
Awesome.
But-
Okay, so that's that meeting, and now there was
So
just
then we had another
meeting
meeting on
last
August
week.
1st. My goodness,
Yeah.
we've had 3 more meetings. We've had one more regular meeting of the town council. That was August 1st.
I'm sorry, I'm distracted. You have a little brace on your finger.
Well, this is my popsicle stick cut in half and taped homemade splint.
You-
I jammed the finger a few weeks ago.
Playing
so
basketball.
I don't even.
Dunking.
It's nothing exciting.
all right. Well, I hope
it's
it
a
feels
non-sexy and a non-work related injury.
yeah,
but typing
no,
is a
yeah.
is a drag. So
Yeah, no doubt, right?
So yeah, sorry for
Okay.
the
feel
distraction.
better. Okay, so we've had the 2
So we-
regular meetings and then a special meeting. What was that?
Well, the second regular meeting was August 1st.
Yes.
At that meeting, we had the pretty weighty topic of, we did a master planning update with HARC and P&Z. So HARC and P&Z members and town council were able to sort of sit and talk for about an hour and 40 minutes about some of the topics that the 2 lower boards would like town council to focus on while we're doing our 2018 goals and objectives.
Got it.
Because that process is kicking off this fall, where we're going to be revising, we do this every year,
Every
and
year.
basically reprioritizing and highlighting things that need attention.
Yeah.
So we heard from those 2 lower boards as to certain topics that they wanted for us to be considered or mindful of. Chief among them were housing, of course, parking, transit, so kind of the usual key
Yeah.
issues in the community. We also, at that meeting, introduced the new airport manager.
Oh, yeah.
So his name is Kenny
Kenny.
Manpa.
Yep.
Kenny comes to us having worked at 4 other and managed 4 other airports in Colorado, and he is somebody that we were, I think, very lucky to find.
Yeah.
So
He seems like a great guy. We met him
very
as well
low-key and-
through Pinhead Climate Institute because we'll be selling offsets at the airport.
perfect. Do you want to
Yeah.
tell us a little bit more about that?
Oh, well, thank you for asking.
Yes.
Pinhead Climate Institute was launched back in March when we won the Telluride Foundation Innovation Prize to green the Galloping Goose. And while we were working on that and starting a carbon offset program with semi-local agriculture, we thought, where else can we help offset? And certainly the airport is one, because what you do is you offset when people are burning fossil fuels, right? And it would be nice if they didn't burn them and if they just used renewables. But right now, airplanes don't run on electricity, right? They run on fuel. So they are going to be, putting greenhouse gases into the air. So then we have the offset program that sequester the greenhouse gases at a cost. And so a consumer who's flying in or out of the Telluride airport can choose to mitigate the greenhouse gases that they release into the environment by buying into any number of offset programs. And there's plenty that are available and pretty commercial and widely regarded, but none of them are as local as ours. And so, so we're going to be able to have like a stand at the airport. It's going to be very exciting. I guess it actually has to be approved by the next airport board meeting, but in theory, everyone's behind it. Where you can, go to kind of like a little standalone stand and purchase your offsets through Pinhead Climate Institute right there.
Great. And
Yeah.
as you know, we've been doing some upgrades to the terminal at the airport.
Yeah.
So hopefully by the time we're ready to go live with the final terminal upgrades, then you guys will be well represented and very visible.
Yeah.
So-
We'll love that. Yeah. And I think we might be doing a build an airplane class for Pinhead up at the airport at some point.
Okay.
I know there's going to be like a little ultralight. I actually don't know anything about it, but stay tuned if you're interested
It'll be
in
like
aviation.
the
get
Wright
in touch.
brothers.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be bicycle power. It's going to be very exciting. And we'll just no, it's not bicycle powered. I'm joking. But
Just
with the
don't go
Wrights-
off one
yeah.
side of the runway.
Yeah, exactly.
Aim toward Aldosoro,
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. So stay tuned for more about that.
Well, good.
Okay, so you
So
introduced the new airport manager.
We introduced the new
This-
airport manager. We also had a work session and actually the announcement that the county, San Miguel County, and we have decided to partner on the construction of approximately 20 units out at the Sunnyside parcel. So just beyond Eider Creek, along the
okay.
spur.
Okay.
The idea is the county has had that land for a number of years. They've looked at building up to 22 units. They've found that because of resource constraints and other issues, and they need to actually do a zoning process for that area because there is no applicable zoning that would allow that at this moment. But they came to us after the two new county commissioners were elected and said, hey, maybe this is the right time for us to consider working with the town and the town ponying up the funds to construct the units, and each of the county and the town would keep one unit for their own staff
nice.
or employee use, and then the remaining approximately 18 units would either be rented or sold. There's really no
But
degree
deed restricted. It would
they
be
would all
for
be deed restricted,
town
so it'd either be
employees
price capped
or-
if
I
it
mean,
were
not
sold,
employees, but people who
appreciation
work in here.
capped, or rental cap.
Sure.
So, but the idea is that we really want to take this as an experimental sort of project, and Hillary Cooper, our town commissioner, would really like to see us, and we've decided as a body to adopt this as our goal too, to see if we can make this a net zero project. And then while we're doing the planning and the building portion of it, we'd also like to reduce to the greatest degree possible the carbon footprint of the materials and things like that we
Sure.
incorporate. What does that mean? It means it'll cost about 20 to 30% more when you're doing the construction, but the idea is you don't create externalities in the process, and then what we do require for energy usage going forward, hopefully we'll be able to offset that through passive and active solar on the site.
Oh, nice.
So
that's great.
stay tuned. That
Yeah.
process, that project is probably something that we've directed our town attorney, and the county's directed their county attorney to enter into a memorandum of understanding to draft that. So probably later on this month or early next month, the memorandum of understanding will be signed. We've already agreed at this meeting on August 1st to 9 points of agreement, and so we are ready to move forward with figuring out how we do sort of the next generation of more eco-friendly affordable housing projects.
Oh, awesome.
So that's really the only other big thing. Then, getting to our special meetings,
Yeah.
the big news item of the last few weeks is that our town manager, Greg Clifton, who has done a wonderful job for us in the last 7 years, and I think
sad.
there's nary a person who doesn't know him or
Yeah.
hasn't really come into contact with him.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's because they were upset about something, and hopefully Greg, in his typical fashion, was able to kind of diffuse the
No
drama
doubt.
and make sure that the town did whatever it could to accommodate, any legitimate request or correct any problem that the person was not pleased with. But long story short, Greg has decided to accept a great opportunity for him. This is an opportunity for him to spend the last 7 or 8 years of his career in a larger community known as Vail.
Yep.
And so Greg will receive obviously greater income, he'll receive a greater retirement benefit, Here he does receive a housing benefit, same there, he'll receive some housing of some sort. I think he gets a car over there, according to what I read in the newspaper, but we don't do that for our town manager,
No.
but we're not quite as spendy as Vail.
Yeah.
But
We're smaller.
so we have, under
We'll
our
miss him.
home rule charter, once we receive notice of a vacancy for the town manager, we are required within 30 days to identify an acting town manager. So in Greg's case, thankfully, this is only, first week of August as we
Right.
film this. Greg won't be leaving us until, I think his last day is Friday, September 22nd.
Oh, good. So we have a little bit of time.
So we have almost 2 months, and we actually have the opportunity then to make sure that we have some continuity in terms of what projects need to get handed off to various people while Greg is still in place.
Yeah.
So the idea is we've appointed, the town council met at a special meeting last Friday, August 4th. We identified Diane Kipfer, who's been the head of our administrative services department in the town for 20 some odd years.
Wow.
She usually stands in and serves as acting manager when Greg is on vacation, for
Oh,
example.
nice.
This week
Yeah.
is a perfect example. So Diane is somebody who's already familiar with and has done that sort of role in the past. So when Greg is gone, as of Monday, September 25th, assuming we don't have another replacement manager identified and or in place, Diane will begin to function as the acting town manager from that point forward.
Okay.
Or if Greg is absent, in the interim for some reason, then Diane would step into that role. So we identified an acting manager. The other decision point we had to make last Friday, August 4th, was whether we did, like we did 7 years ago, whether we conducted an in-house sort of driven search or whether we hired a third-party search firm.
Right.
So our council unanimously decided that we wanted to engage a third-party search firm for a couple of reasons. First of all, the town manager position is not a political issue. So you
Right.
really don't want people who are professional politicians, even though we're only paid $800 or $1,500 a month,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
You really don't want people whose primary role is being an advocate or something to be hiring someone as your town manager. You want a dispassionate person
impartial,
who collects resumes, who identifies, characteristics based on, neutral criteria that are laid out in advance, and you want that person to say, here's the, culled field of
Yeah.
candidates that you guys should consider.
Yeah.
And then
Let us know who you get along with.
we would select somebody from that. So the idea was, and Telluride deserves to have a national search.
Right.
If you're doing this, just posting on the Colorado Municipal League website or your own website, you don't really know how many people you're going to reach. So what we did is decided to use an outside search firm. We identified a national firm in California that happens to have an employee in Glenwood Springs who has done dozens of placements in Colorado for town managers,
Oh,
for town
sweet.
attorneys, for county managers.
Yeah.
So this is and this person himself used to be an assistant district attorney in El Paso County. This person himself used to be the acting town manager of Glenwood Springs.
Oh, wow.
He still lives in Glenwood Springs, by the way.
Right,
And
so
so
local
he
and-
knows these kind of jobs from personal experience. He also is now just a professional search person who's done dozens and dozens of Colorado-based
headhunter.
searches. Exactly.
Ooh, yeah.
So the good
Okay,
news
great.
is, unlike other headhunters, so from other industries from which we've come, for example, a lot of headhunting firms require like 30% of the first year's salary. And in this case, the fee for this is $26,000 flat.
Oh.
So to put that in perspective, Greg's salary was a little north of $130,000 a year. So that's effectively 2 months
right.
salary, or 20%.
Sure.
So we felt that this was, a good price. Frankly, it's almost exactly what the airport just paid to do its director search. And I know SMART is paying something very close to this as well for its executive director administrator search. So this is completely in line with governmental, employment opportunity searches.
Right.
It's not as expensive as you would expect or otherwise have seen in other contexts. So we decided all in that this would be a good way for us to go.
Yeah.
Then yesterday, Monday the 7th of August,
Right.
we invited this search firm that we were interested in talking to come before us in a public meeting. And so we had first.
So that happened?
First, the search firm came in the morning and did interviews with all of our department heads. Then they interviewed each council person individually.
Wow, that's a
I
lot
think
of time spent.
my
That's
interview was
great.
35 minutes with them. And I brought a 7-page single-spaced bullet point list of everything I wanted to make sure that they
We're
were
paying
cognizant
attention
of.
to, yeah.
So, and I think each council person gave them, that sort of feedback. Their job is now to go back. We chose to retain them yesterday afternoon and charge them with, assembling a composite of all these criteria that they heard from department heads, that they heard from each of the council members, and come back to us with a tailored list that then we'll use as the objective template when we're evaluating candidates.
Wow.
So the idea is in the next 60 days, if we're lucky, we'll hopefully have somebody identified as the successor.
Wow.
And then Diane's term as acting manager might only be a month or so.
Depending on how
depending
soon
on
that
how soon
person
that
can
person-
relocate here, if it's somebody from out of this region.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as we're all familiar, Telluride is a unique place. We're obviously, we have a worldwide reputation, but we do have certain limitations that people need to be prepared to live with. A little bit remote. Winter.
Hard to get to.
Yeah,
long
hard to get
winters,
to and
not a lot
harder
of
to
light.
leave.
Uh-huh.
Exactly.
Yep.
So I think all in all, it's really we need to make sure we find the right person for the job. Obviously, first and foremost, we want somebody that's as engaged in the community as Greg was. We want somebody that's
How long did Greg have the job? I'm sorry.
7 years.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. He actually just had his 7th anniversary in June.
Wow.
So
Did you bake him a cake?
we didn't get him a cake.
Let's make sure we get him a cake when he leaves in September.
Well, we are planning I hate to spill the beans, but there will be some sort of going away event.
Turn your TV off now.
Exactly. Date to be disclosed, to be surprised.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so
yeah. So I've been working with Greg a little bit on the kind of trying to green the whole town thing idea.
Greening
And
the Galloping Goose,
Yeah, greening
right?
the Galloping Goose, and then also we want to put a sign outside town saying we're striving to be carbon neutral, and so Greg's been helping with that, through town council, and I think that we're a whole kind of coalition of organizations that are working towards carbon neutrality are going to come to the next town council meeting.
Oh, good. Okay.
And so we've been dealing with Greg on getting on the agenda, so he's been very helpful.
Perfect. That'll be August 22nd. Then.
Yeah.
Yeah, at 10 a.m., 10 to 12 then.
Yeah.
For that work session.
Yeah,
Okay, perfect.
Exactly. Yeah. So
Well, good.
he's done a lot of good work on trying to make the town carbon neutral. I loved his presentation that he did. I guess was it the month before Mountain Film, and then they did the new normal presentation the day after. I don't know.
Right,
Anyhow,
we
Greg
did
is
the
really
Mountain
paying
Film
attention
presentation
to
May
it.
30th,
Yeah.
our May 30th meeting. And at that point, the town also had, in mid-May, joined the Compact for Colorado Communities.
All those Cs, yeah.
Yes.
CCC4.
Well, that
whatever.
CC4CA is
Oh.
actually the state-level
Okay,
organization,
yeah.
Colorado Communities for Climate Action.
Yeah.
But the CCC, Compact of Colorado Communities, is actually the local grassroots initiative that the mayor of Aspen has spearheaded.
Oh, right.
For local communities like ours. We were one of the first, I think, 18 signatories in that compact.
Yeah.
And so our mission there is to identify a locally attainable, measurable goal in the next 24 months and have at it. So
Yeah.
that's where we're really going to be able to, put our money where our mouth is, so to speak, and say, you know what, we don't care that the federal government is backing away from the Paris Accords, we're going to run toward them.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
that would be the venue, that's the organization that we're going to, set a goal and announce it to them and then live up to it.
Oh, great.
So, and
Yeah.
that is really a community-based thing, not necessarily the town government,
Yeah.
which has already become carbon neutral in the last 2 years. But
Yeah.
we can all do better.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
Exactly.
But back to the town manager thing.
Yes,
I mean, we really,
exactly.
this is, frankly, we didn't want to see Greg leave.
Right.
But the nice thing is, Greg has built such a capable staff and has done such a great job in the 7 years of empowering leadership below him,
Yeah.
so that just because he leaves, none of us are irreplaceable.
Yeah.
And so it really is not as disruptive as it could have been. So the nice thing is we have strong leaders in these department head roles, and we really have people who are passionate about their jobs. And so, for example, Paul Root at Public Works has already said, I'm happy to step up, and the town manager's been involved in pretty intensive discussions together with Public Works about the master planning for the wastewater treatment plant successor facility that we
Right.
need to plan and build. So Paul Rood will take that process forward seamlessly.
Yeah.
Sort of same thing on the Bridal Veil. We've been reconstructing a bypass
Oh, right,
because
exactly,
we had a
the
little
big pipe,
accident there
yeah.
a year ago, and so the water supply bypass should be completed in the next couple weeks.
Wow.
We are also going to move forward expeditiously on repairing the damage that we did to the Bridal Veil generation Pelton wheel and that
Oops.
sort of thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're very sorry about that. And
Yeah.
we.
But we're going to make it better.
Oh yeah, we'll make it. We'll
Yeah.
make them whole and we'll make it right.
Okay, good.
So in fact, I'm I'm meeting again with Idorado next week.
Oh, great.
So the nice thing is we have a very collaborative relationship, and Greg has been an important part of setting that tone. But once Greg is succeeded by somebody else, that person really does get to step into pretty much an enviable role where these things are under control.
Yeah.
Whether it's, Karen Guglielmoni or Paul Rude, on the public works side, on the infrastructure side, things are dialed in.
Yeah.
Whether it's on the housing side, we've got 3 or 4 projects going on.
Yeah.
Virginia Placer's
Yeah,
underway.
should we talk about that?
Sure.
Yeah.
For example, as I noted in the memo I gave to the recruiter yesterday, you've effectively got 4 housing projects now that are at some stage of implementation. So and this again, thankfully, we have Lance McDonald, our long-range planner, who's dialed all this in too. So
Yeah.
Greg was important as a leader for this, but the people who are actually doing the management and implementation work are all still here. So
Yeah.
there's no reason for panic. It's
Yep.
actually an opportunity maybe to bring in a fresh perspective and to maybe figure out how other communities are doing something where this person might have already worked. But in the interim, these 4 housing projects,
Yeah.
Virginia Placer, we're
Yeah, so
moving
there's
forward
the-
on the
yeah.
boarding house foundation right now.
Okay,
The
that's what's
foundation
being
for the 12
built. And
apartments
how
is
many,
there.
how many rooms will be in the boarding house?
There'll be 46 rooms in the boarding
And
house.
is there going to be a common kitchen or no
Yes.
kitchen at all?
No, there's a common kitchen
One
there, yes.
common kitchen.
There's
Who does the
one.
dishes?
Everyone individually is responsible for cleaning up after himself, herself, after each meal. But there'll be individual little pantries. There'll be there'll be multiple stoves and multiple microwaves and things like that, so people will be able to cook concurrently.
Oh, nice.
And not have hopefully a big jam up.
Yeah.
But so that
And
project will
does
be
each
done.
little room have its own bathroom, or are there like dorm bathrooms down
It
the hall?
depends. We have some rooms that are like a dormitory style where there's a shared bath on the hallway. Then we also have some rooms where there are 2 rooms that share a bath. So up to 4 people might be sharing a private bath. Could be 2 people sharing a private bath, 2 different rooms. But we have sort of a mix because we wanted to sort of have multiple options for people. They're obviously priced a little bit differently, but all of it is geared to be extremely affordable. And I think we'll be oversubscribed for
Yeah,
those things.
yeah, I would imagine.
So
and is it short term? Like how long are you?
leases are designed to be 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah, so I think we're going to do rolling 6-month leases. So
And if you don't wash your dishes, you're out after 6 months.
well, it could be. And the beauty of that model is that we're going to have an on-site manager.
Yeah.
So that person
Can tattle on those who
well,
are not
that
pulling
person
their
can
weight.
encourage, respectful, community-minded behavior. So we're hopefully not going to have that issue.
No,
Of
clearly
course
not.
not.
Yeah,
No,
of course
it
not.
wouldn't happen
so,
until you're right.
No,
No.
definitely not. So the
So that's
So
Virginia
the platform
Placer.
is already being poured. I mean, the,
The
concrete
foundations,
foundation
yes,
is being
correct.
poured. Okay, good.
So-
and then there's townhomes, and those are under.
There are 12 2-bedroom apartments. There are 6 one-bedroom studios, and there are 3 tiny homes. So at this point, the foundation work is complete for the 12 2-bedroom and the 6 one-bedroom complexes, and then the boarding house foundation is coming to completion. Tiny homes are not yet there; they're going to be built on site.
Oh,
so
nice.
that'll be the last,
Yeah.
maybe 6 months. But you can expect by around June of 2018, the Virginia Placer will be done.
Well,
Then we've been in a long lived conversation about the SMPA lot where the
Oh,
AHA
sure.
school
Yeah.
and the town are trying to collaborate on something.
Yeah.
We're still moving through final, sort of approvals on that.
yeah.
But
has it gone by PNG and now it's in Hark?
it's in Hark, yeah.
Okay.
So, and it's nearly through the Hark process.
Okay.
And so our expectation is that building will be done late 2019. Same thing for, we identified, about 3 meetings ago that we wanted to designate a portion of the RV lot for another 15 to 20 townhomes, very much like Entrada.
Okay.
So both next to Entrada and similar to Entrada, we were hoping to have larger townhomes, like 3-bedroom sort of things on average, and those will be done as well by the end of 2019.
Wow.
And then the Sunnyside project that we mentioned before, that we
Right,
just discussed with the county,
Yeah, with the county.
that'll probably be completed sometime in 2020. So basically, in the
Lots
next
of new
3 years,
housing coming on.
you're going to have housing for 150 plus people coming in.
Wow.
Well, actually more than that. Virginia Placer is
Stampede.
100 people. And then basically, that's about 250 people.
Wow, that's
so
great.
10% of the town's population theoretically
Yeah.
could be housed in housing we're putting up in the next 3 years.
And I feel like I've heard that the school is thinking about or trying to
The school actually
housing
has,
for teachers.
yes, they're pretty far along down in the Ilium area. They have
Oh,
6
Ilium,
lots,
that's where it is,
and
okay.
they've actually completed architectural drawings, and they're working with the county for final approval of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Ski Corp, together with TMBOA owns 28 lots, fairly close to those 6 lots that the school is
also
planning
in
on.
Ilium.
Also in Ilium.
Great.
So if you believe the newspaper, there was an article last week saying that the TMVOA / Telski project was slated to have 38 units. So
okay.
again, the nice thing
a lot of
is we
housing.
have collaborative partners in the ski company, in the TMVOA, and in the Telluride School District.
Right,
So
exactly.
we're all kind of in the same boat, rowing the same direction, which has not always been the case.
Yeah,
so this is a good
exactly.
thing. I think we all have the same interest, and we all want to serve, our respective, whether it's our teacher population or whether it's our town staff getting a couple extra units that are dedicated for them. That's one of the nice things about our manager search. We're going to be able to offer not just a salary range comparable to what Greg was receiving, but also a housing allowance.
Yeah.
So we can either make available the unit that we were letting Greg rent from us, either at low or no cost, or provide a housing stipend to someone if he or she has their own
Place
sort of
that they wanna
idea that they
live.
want to, identify a different one.
Yeah.
So, but the town manager will be required to live in the town of Telluride, and so we already have a ready-made place for that to occur, or we can, provide some sort of a cash subsidy on an
Let's
annual
talk
basis.
about cash. What's going on with sales tax and real estate revenue?
Oh my gosh, wow. Well, we've talked before about how real estate transfer tax is like all
Yeah.
over the place. Through the end of June, which is the latest figures available, the July figures won't be published until our next meeting. Through the end of June, we're 47% ahead of where we were June 30th of 2016.
Wow, that's crazy.
So it
Yeah.
is, yes, exactly. So that's a good place to be.
Yeah, and that money is spent on
Capital projects.
Capital projects,
So
yeah.
things like roads, things like sewer, things like
Sidewalks,
Sidewalks,
yeah.
exactly. So, and sales tax, we're actually 4.2% ahead of where we were last year.
Okay, so and last year it might have even been double digits or something, but so it's growing on growth. It's building on growth.
Exactly. I think
Yeah.
we were about 7%
7 or 8,
ahead,
yeah.
7 to 8% ahead on a entire calendar year 2016 basis.
Yeah.
And we, it just seems to happen that we have this slow and steady
Yeah.
single-digit increases every year, year after year. So we are completely on track for the sales tax, to hopefully end up single-digit up above where it was last year.
Yeah.
But and those funds go toward our operating budget.
Right.
So paying the staff, keeping the lights on, shoveling snow pretty soon.
Yeah, I know,
when
right?
that happens.
Yeah, it was very cold
It's
here
like a
today.
sweater in August. This
right?
is crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I woke up this morning in Aspen, as I think you know.
Yes.
I was
Tell
there
us about what you were doing in
Thank you
Aspen.
for asking.
We'll
There's
turn
this
the tables on you for a second
well,
time.
Thank you. Just for a moment. There's a great little organization in Aspen that was actually, I think, a spin-off from the Aspen Physics Institute that is called the Aspen Science Center. And once a year they do a Science Center street fair. And so Pinhead has gone 4 years in a row now. And we build the Jitterbugs, which is the program that we do both in the public school and in the mountain school with first graders. So all first graders in this area get a lesson. First of all, it's in circuitry because you're building what looks like a bug, but it's got a little motor and it's got batteries and it's got little alligator clips that you have to clip onto the motor to make it run. So it's a lesson in completing a circuit. And then it's also a lesson in entomology because you build the bug with the 3 body parts and the 6 legs and the antenna and the 2 sets of wings. And then you can decorate it and then it becomes a lesson in habitat. So we did that throughout the course of the day. And I had a lovely young assistant, Milo Ornowski, whose mom happened to be in Aspen this weekend. So he came over and he was my assistant. We both wore our lab coats and did our little Jitterbugs presentations. And
Excellent.
lots of kids came through and they were all very enthusiastic science learners, and it was a lovely time to be there. And then actually a friend of mine who does documentaries had a screening of I Am Jane Doe, which was quite interesting and sad and thoughtful about human trafficking in America and kind of like internet issues and legalities and stuff. It was really eye-opening. And that was a screening at the Aspen Institute. And then I just drove back today. So here I am.
Well, speaking of human trafficking, not that we, thankfully have had that issue right here that we're aware of, but
You
our
never
county
know.
sheriff
Yeah.
is completely cognizant, mindful, and gets continued briefings from the Colorado Bureau of Investigation just about that topic.
That was the lesson. There was a
So-
mom and her daughter who were in the audience, and she said it could happen anywhere and it could happen to anyone. So just, I guess, maybe if you see
Let's
something,
hope
say
not, but-
something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyhow, it was interesting. I'm always happy to watch interesting films and learn from them. What have you seen
as
lately?
usual, doing all this intellectual stuff.
Oh, yes, exactly. Very heady.
I haven't seen any things in the theater. I think
Uh-huh.
I was considering going to the Nugget the other day, and I think it was Spider-Man or something.
Yeah.
I was
Oh,
like,
yeah. Spider-Man: Homecoming. It was pretty
Okay.
good.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Although last
All right,
night
I'll take
David
your
and
word
Wiley
for it.
did watch All the President's Men just to kind of follow up on what's the freedom of the press and the power of the press and all of that good stuff. So.
No, not to be
Yeah. Uh-huh.
a Debbie Downer or whatever, but the last film I did see was on HBO the other day or Showtime, and it was Ordinary People from 1980.
Oh yeah, with
Mary
Timothy
Tyler
Hutton,
Moore
Mary
and
Tyler Moore,
Timothy
yeah,
Hutton
exactly.
and Donald Sutherland.
Donald Sutherland, exactly.
It was really.
Did it hold up?
I think it did.
Because I don't think I've seen it since then.
Yep. No,
Yeah,
it's
I'll have to
worth
watch
another
it.
look.
Yeah,
But,
that was a heart wrencher,
that's
right?
yeah, exactly. Not an uplifting topic
No,
either.
yeah, but it held up. It's
exactly.
always good. Yeah, apparently All the President's Men held up too.
Well, that seems to be relevant nowadays too.
I know,
so,
right? Exactly. So what else do you want to talk about?
I think we've really covered the landscape.
Yeah, we've talked about a lot of good stuff.
We'll have another town council meeting on August 23rd.
Yep.
Or, I'm sorry, August 22nd.
22nd, exactly.
And obviously the work session will be part of that. I think we'll have a pretty packed agenda from what I understand. Because I've had several requests come up from department heads as to what we need to be considering. And
Yeah,
we're obviously
because
moving
people all want to sorry, was that really loud? People want to jump off into the fall, you know what I mean? They want to get going.
Well, in the fall is really our time to get our act together on budgeting for the next year. It's to get our act together on goals and objectives.
Yeah.
So the town council will have a series of retreats this fall as well. Retreats, going to the library, sitting around a table and going, okay, what's our budget for this? How much did we spend last year? What do we project as increase or decrease? So not the real sexy part of it, but
Yeah.
frankly, something that Greg did better than anyone was being a budget forecast and a very conservative and a very reserve building type of town manager. So thankfully we have the template in place.
Yeah.
So we can certainly build on
Build on
that
that.
tradition.
Yeah.
And let's hope we don't have an economic setback and
Oh Lord,
see what happens.
Choip, choip.
Exactly.
Talking about the August 22nd meeting reminds me of August 21st, which is the solar eclipse. And Pinhead is hosting a viewing in Elks Park. We'll have 100 of those solar viewing glasses, so you
Okay,
can put
because
them
I
on
knew
and
that
not
up
burn
at
your
like
eyeballs.
Jackson Hole was a terrific place to look at it. But
Well, if you
is it
can
gonna
find
be
a
good
place
here?
to stay there, that's 100% totality in Jackson Hole. But apparently the roads there are going to be blocked off for days. It's going to be
Okay, so everyone should come to Telluride instead.
Yeah, exactly. You can come to Telluride, or if you're here, just stay here and enjoy it. We have, I think, 84 or 86% totality here.
Well, that's
So that's pretty good. And we'll have the glasses in Elks Park, which is that cute little part on Main Street. Also, on August 12th, it's the Perseid meteor shower, which is a lot of shooting stars, really fun to watch. And we're going to have a special meteor stargazing with Mishki at the top of the mountain on August 12th.
That's at the San Sofia Mid
Yeah,
Station?
yeah, exactly,
Okay,
at the
great.
mid station,
Because
exactly.
he does
Bring
a regular
lawn chair.
series of
He
stargazing
He
there,
does
right?
them the Tuesday of the new moon, and so it's dark then, but he's also adding one in Saturday because of the Perseid meteor showers. So bring
Awesome.
a lawn chair, maybe a blanket, and hang out and check out the meteor showers. They're quite remarkable, and I think with this dark night sky like we have here, it's going to be fantastic.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Well, Sarah, thank you as always.
Yeah, I guess that's it, right? I could talk to you
Unless you could
forever.
think of something else, but
You know I can think of something else, but I think we'll say goodbye. How about that?
All right.
Awesome. Thanks
we'll give
for
you
your
guys a break.
Thanks for
Thanks.
your time.
Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah.
Bye.